you for your purchase of a Brother Serger. This video will show you how to set up and start sewing on your serger. The serger you have purchased is just one of the many fine products in the Brother line. Other items include sewing machines, knitting machines, and personal embroidery systems. Please contact Brother for the location of the dealer in your area for any of these other products. This video contains 8 sections. They are getting to know your machine, threading, test sewing and tension adjustment, sewing a 3-thread stitch, narrow and rolled hem stitches, differential feed, blind hem stitch, and optional feet. Each section of the video has a section number in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, so you can quickly find any section of the tape, even in fast forward. This video is made as a supplement to the instruction book that came with your serger. Please refer to it for more detailed information on your serger and its creative uses. Let's begin with your accessory kit. Your serger came with 4 thread nets. These are used to control the flow of thread on the cones. You also have 4 spool caps. These are used when you are using small spools of thread to keep them in place. You'll also have a package of needles, a hex wrench for changing needles, a screwdriver, lint cleaning brush, and tweezers to help in threading. An option for your machine is the trim trap, which keeps your sewing cleaner. To open the front cover, move the latch to the right and down. Let's bring our needles to their highest position by turning the hand wheel counterclockwise. It is important that the hand wheel only be turned in this direction whenever you need to rotate. The Brother Serger uses a standard home sewing machine needle. To insert or change your needles, use the hex wrench in your accessory package and loosen the set screw located here. Both needles are held by the set screw, so if you are removing or changing just one needle, you need to hold both. Remember, it is important that you make sure and insert the needles as high as they go into the needle ports. If this is done correctly, you will notice that the left needle is slightly higher than the right needle. Home sewing machine needles have a flat side. Remember to insert this flat side to the back. Your serger has 2 blades. The upper blade can be disengaged by pushing in on the left-hand side and rolling the wheel up until it clicks. Your lower blade is located on the inside right of your needle plate here. The position of the lower blade is controlled by the width dial. There are markings on your needle plate that indicate the width of your stitch. You can vary the width of your stitch by turning the dial in either direction. Your serger has easy snap-on, snap-off presser feet. To remove the foot, raise the foot to the upright position with the presser foot lift lever located on the right side of your machine. To release the foot, press the button on the foot holder. You may need to lift up on the foot spring in order to slide the foot out. The needle plate on a serger is similar to a sewing machine, but in the place of a needle opening, the plate has stitch fingers, 2 of which are needle-like in appearance. The third is wider and can be removed for various stitches. As you serge, your thread actually wraps around these stitch fingers. Now let's reattach the foot. In order to do this, align your presser foot to the presser foot bar and lower your presser foot lift lever in place. The 2 other components that are part of the stitch formation are the loopers. The upper looper is curved and can be seen above the needle plate. The lower looper is straight and remains under the needle plate. To open the side of the machine, simply swing it out to the left. The stitch length adjustment lever is located towards the back of the machine. To increase or decrease your stitch length, lift out on the lever and slide it up or down to align the red marking to the desired length. Once aligned, move the lever back into its locked position. For most serging, you should set this lever between 2 and 3. Your machine may have a similar lever in the front. This lever is for differential feed adjustment. This controls the speed and the position of your front feed dog for optimal fabric control. We will cover this later in the video. Your pressure adjustment knob is located on the top left of your machine. The foot pressure can be increased by turning the knob to the right or decreased by turning the knob to the left. The tension dials rotate from 0 to 9 and are calibrated to be used at 4 for regular stitching. Before we begin threading, make sure and extend the thread tree to the highest position. Also, if you are using cone thread, you need to use the cone holder on the spool pin to secure the thread. Power to your machine is supplied by the combination foot control power cord. Insert the flat plug into the right side of the machine. The power switch is located on the right-hand side of the machine. Insert the power plug into an electrical outlet. If your machine came threaded, the easiest way to change the thread is to tie on the new thread. First, fully extend the thread tree. Now clip the old thread near the cone and above the eye of the needles. Tie on the new thread in the smallest knot possible. Before you pull the new threads through, bring the presser foot to the high position. Next, turn your tension knobs down to 0. This will help the knot to pass easily. Pull your looper threads through first. Now pull the needle threads down to the eye and manually thread through your needles. If your thread breaks or you want to rethread your machine from scratch, first bring your needles to their highest position. Also bring your presser foot up and open the front cover. An easy reference chart for looper threading is located on the inside of the front cover. Always begin with the upper looper, which is the green thread. Bring it up through the thread tree. Your machine has been color-coded for easier threading. Snap it into the first thread guide, around the next, come around the tension assembly and make sure that you get it under the tension spring. Over top of this guide, now we're going under, over top of the next, and down under this thread guide. Now insert the thread through the center of the next two guides and pull it straight up. Your last thread guide is a spring. Simply place your thread behind that spring and pull to the left. Now you're ready to thread through the eye of the upper looper. Pull the thread straight back to the back of your machine and turn your hand wheel towards you to align the looper thread. Next, we're going to thread the lower looper. The first step is to release the lower looper threader. This is done by gently pulling to the right position. Now we'll bring our thread through the thread tree, down through the first blue thread path, around the tension disc, and remember to make sure that the thread is underneath that spring. Up and around through the first thread path, around the second, the third, the next is around. At this point, you'll want to get your tweezers. For the next two thread guides, simply insert the thread through the center and pull straight up. Your next thread guide, you'll simply clip in. Now you're ready to thread the eye of the lower looper. Before you pull the thread straight back, we first need to insert it into the lower looper threader, laying it up against the guide. While still grasping your lower looper thread, you'll need to move the lower looper threader back to its original locked position. In this position, you will notice that the red triangles line up. Now bring your thread to the back of the machine and turn your hand wheel towards you to align the looper threads. This will ensure that the lower looper thread is laying on top of the upper looper. Next is our right needle thread. Bring your thread up through the thread tree, clip in down through the first thread guide, around the tension disc, making sure that the thread is securely in place. Bring it around, under, over, lay on top of the take-up lever, over, and down through the final thread guide. Now you're ready to thread the eye of the right needle. You may want to use your tweezers to bring the thread through the eye of the right needle and pull straight back. Now for the left needle. Bring your thread through the thread tree, Down through the first thread guide, clip it in. Bring it around the tension disc, making sure that your thread is securely in place. Bring it up through the thread guide, over, on top of the take-up, over the thread guide, and around the last thread guide. Again, using your tweezers, place the thread through the eye of the needle and pull straight back. Now you want to make sure that all 4 threads are completely under the presser foot and pulled to the left. Before you begin serging, your presser foot should be in the down position. With your front cover closed, you'll want to check your threading by turning your hand wheel in the counterclockwise position to make sure that your thread is chaining correctly. Now place your foot pedal in a comfortable position, and while holding on to your chain, press slowly. This is called chaining off. You will always want to have 3 or 4 inches of chain before beginning your project. Now let's begin by placing fabric in the machine and sewing a 4-thread stitch. The 4-thread stitch is the most commonly used in seam construction. Before you begin sewing, check to make sure that all tension dials are set at 4. For normal weight fabrics, place your fabric up next to the feed dogs and begin sewing. At the end of your seam, you'll want to continue sewing until you have 3 or 4 inches of chain and clip the threads. For heavier fabrics, lift the presser foot lift lever and place the fabric underneath the foot. Before you continue, you need to check your stitch formation. This is what your 4-thread stitch should look like. Let's take 1 thread at a time. Using the same colors as your tension dials, your thread should look like this. The orange thread, which is your left needle, forms a straight line on the top of your fabric. The red thread, which is your right needle thread, also forms a straight line on the top of the fabric. On the underside, you should see a small orange knot tied at the base of the Y-shaped loop. The right thread also ties a knot in the center of the Y-shaped loop. The blue loop on the underside of the fabric is your lower looper. It should extend from the seam line to the edge of the fabric. The green loop on the top side of your fabric is your upper looper. It should also extend from the seam line to the base of the fabric. If your sample does not look like this, you may need to make tension adjustments. If your sample looks like this, with loops on the back side instead of knots, most likely you have not engaged the thread into the tension disc. To correct this problem, pull on both ends of the thread to make sure that it's engaged under the tension disc. In this example, the loopers do not meet along the edge of the fabric. You'll notice that the lower looper is pulled to the front side of the fabric. To correct this problem, you will first want to loosen your upper looper tension. Run a test sample. If this does not correct the problem, you may need to increase your lower looper tension. Be sure to only adjust 1 tension at a time before you run a test sample. If you have adjusted your looper tension correctly, the loop should meet along the edge of the fabric. If your fabric is puckering, this may be caused by needle tensions. You may need to loosen the needle thread tensions. The looper thread tensions should not affect the pucker of the fabric. If this does not correct the problem, and your machine has differential feed, you may want to check that it is set on 1. On a heavier fabric, such as a fleece or denim, you may find it necessary to increase your needle thread tensions. On lighter weight fabrics, such as cotton, you may find it necessary to decrease your needle thread tensions. Normally, as you change weights of fabric, your needle thread tensions are the only adjustments that are necessary. Your machine settings will vary depending on the type of fabric and thread that you will be using. Test sew with a scrap of the fabric and thread before you begin your project. There is a setting record page in the back of your instruction manual for you to record the different settings. This record of setting will be helpful for future projects using similar thread and fabrics. Another popular stitch on your serger is a 3-thread overlock stitch. A narrow 3-thread overlock is done by removing your left needle. This is most commonly used as a simple overcast on a lightweight fabric. A wide 3-thread stitch is done by removing your right needle. This is most commonly used for decorative purposes. To set up for a narrow 3-thread stitch, first bring your needles to the high position by turning your hand wheel counterclockwise. Now you're ready to snip the left needle thread. To remove your left needle, use the hex wrench provided in your accessory package and loosen the set screw. Remember to hold on to both needles as they are both held by the set screw. Now tighten the set screw. Your left needle thread can be left in place or you can remove it. You're now ready to begin sewing a 3-thread overlock stitch. Place your fabric under the foot and begin serging. A correct 3-thread overlock stitch should look like this. Make sure that your looper threads are meeting at the edge of your fabric. To sew a wide 3-thread overlock stitch, remove the right needle instead of the left and follow the same procedures. Your brother serger has been set up to easily convert to a narrow rolled hem. The narrow rolled hem is an ideal decorative finish or hem finish. In order to achieve the best results on a narrow rolled hem, all 3 threads should be the same color. To set up for a narrow rolled hem, bring your presser foot to the high position. Now rotate your hand wheel counterclockwise to bring your needles up to their highest position. Clip your left needle thread and pull the thread gently back. Remember, we're not using the left needle thread, so it can be removed completely. To remove your left needle, use your hex wrench and loosen the set screw. Retighten the set screw to secure your right needle. To change the stitch length setting, open the side cover, unlock the latch, and reduce your stitch length down to the R setting. Relock the latch and close your side cover. Now open the front cover in preparation for removing the stitch finger. Before you do this, you'll need to clear the stitch finger. This is done by grasping your needle thread and pulling some slack. Then you want to gently pull the chain back. This ensures that your threads are no longer wrapped up around the stitch finger. To remove your stitch finger, grasp it with your right hand and push it on the release lever with your left. For your convenience, you can store it in the holder on the front cover. To change your stitch width, you'll need to turn your stitch width dial counterclockwise until the arrow aligns with the R setting on your needle plate. We are starting with our thread tensions at a normal setting. In order to do the rolled hem, we are increasing our lower loop retention between 6 and 8. Lower the presser foot, place your fabric underneath, and begin serging. If your machine has differential feed, your feed dog is split into 2 sections. You can operate your front feed dog at a different speed by operating the differential feed lever. You can move it from 0.7 down to 2.0 for optimal fabric feeding. At the 1.0 setting, your feed dogs are moving at the same speed. If your knits are tending to stretch out of shape, like in our sample, you will need to adjust your differential feed lever between 1.0 and 2.0 to help control the stretch. Now that we have adjusted the differential feed, sew a test sample. This is how an adjusted differential feed can correct the problem. Lightweight fabrics may tend to pucker. To correct this problem, you'll want to move your differential feed lever towards the 0.7 setting. Now sew a test sample. This is how an adjusted differential feed can correct the problem. This machine has a blind hem foot for multi-purpose use available as an option. By using this foot, you can sew a blind hem and overlock at the same time. The blind hem foot is also useful as a stitch guide for other decorative stitches. The blind hem stitch is done with 3 threads. You'll want to remove your right needle by loosening the set screw. Tighten the set screw to secure the left needle. Remove the standard presser foot by hitting the release button. Now install the blind hem foot. The blind hem foot is designed with a guide to help you align your fabric. This guide can be adjusted so that your needle is just penetrating the fold of the fabric. The blind hem stitch should look like this. If you've aligned your foot correctly, the needle thread should barely show on the top of your fabric. Brother has specialty accessory feet available for your serger as options. You may purchase these feet through a Brother dealer or the Brother customer service department. They include the elastic insertion foot for easy elastic application, the purl foot for applying pearls as a fabric trim, and the piping foot for making piping or applying it to a project. This video is meant to get you started with your serger. Please refer to your instruction manual for further information on any of the functions of your serger.